Wait, you're over it? I mean, why would anyone want to leave the great state of Texas? In today's video, we'll be discussing why. Welcome back to Living in the Pacific Northwest with Hal Byrd. I'm Hal Byrd. I'm a licensed realtor and broker in Washington and Oregon, primarily serving the Vancouver, Washington, and Portland, Oregon markets. And today we're going to be talking about why people are leaving Texas. I talk to so many people as a certified relocation specialist, and so many people are like, everybody that you talk to must be moving from California. And I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of Californians, but the second most popular state that my clients are coming from is actually Texas. And people are shocked by that. I think because Texas has been so popular to move to, and you know, it's a whole vibe of its own. It's like another country down there. But people are leaving and they're telling me the reasons why when we're having our initial consults. So if you're sitting in Texas and you're thinking about moving to the Northwest, I would highly recommend reaching out to me. If you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing in the Northwest, you make sure to shoot me a text at 360-818-4438. My email's in the description below, along with my Zoom link. You can just schedule directly with me. So today I want to share, for those of you that are sitting in Texas thinking about making this move, and maybe you think you're crazy and maybe you feel a little alone. So today I'm going to talk to you about some of the reasons my clients are telling me they're moving, and talk about some of the differences between Texas and Washington. And by the end of the video, I hope you make a decision on whether Washington is going to be the right fit for you or not. It may not be. You might end up moving to Idaho or Florida. I don't know. So if you hear anything you like in this video, make sure to like the video and leave a comment, and also make sure you're subscribed. So without further ado, let's talk about it. The first and number one reason why people are telling me that they are moving from Texas to Washington is because of politics. Some of the things that I'm hearing about the political scene in Texas is that it's just not lining up with my clients' personal values. They also feel that it's very intense and very polarizing there. I hear a lot about the intensity and polarization when it comes to politics, and it's just not aligning with their personal beliefs. I personally do not care what side of the political aisle you're on. I don't care if you're the farthest left or the farthest right. I help people no matter what they believe, and you don't have to share with me. I never bring up politics to my clients, but this is what they're coming to me with. They're saying, this is why we're leaving Texas. And I'm like, hey, what has you thinking about Washington, or why would you want to leave where you're at? This is what they're telling me. Now, Washington state as a whole is a blue state. It's been a blue state for a while now, probably 20 plus years. And in the area that I serve in particular, in the Vancouver, Washington, Southwest Washington area, it's very purple. So if you're looking for something that's a little bit more balanced, maybe you don't want to be in a super blue area, but you don't want to be in a super red area, Vancouver, Washington is a great place to be. Anywhere that there's larger population centers, you usually have more blue-leaning policies and voting records. And then as you get to the more rural areas, it tends to get a little bit more red. And that's the same here. So Vancouver, pretty purple, maybe a little light blue. Camas, same thing. As you get into Washougal, Battleground, you'll start to see it turn light red. And as you go out from there, it starts to get darker red. You can see this election map here. If you want to research the politics of any area you're moving to across the country, the New York Times extremely detailed election maps are very helpful for that. And if you're like, I just don't care about politics, I'm tired of talking about it, I want to go back to the time when it wasn't so intense, then this is a great place to be. I mean, I don't know the political beliefs of some of our friends here. Actually, most of our friends, I don't know. I don't know the political beliefs of our neighbors, and we're very good friends with our neighbors. And I don't really care. And it's a nice thing to just be able to connect with someone absent of political or religious or, you know, all those taboo subjects, and even career, which is another video. If you want me to talk about the culture around careers here, let me know in the comments. Okay. So politics, that's the number one reason. That's the most common reason that I hear. So if you move from Texas to Washington, and specifically the part of Washington that I'm in, which is Southwest Washington, then you will find a lot more of a balanced landscape, a less intense landscape, even during the election years. The second most common reason that people tell me they're leaving Texas is because of the weather and or climate. People are concerned about the heat. So if you're tired of 120-degree summers, I have clients that are relocating from the Austin area to Washougal, Washington. And they told me that last summer, I hope I'm remembering this correctly, they had 30 days in a row that were above 100 degrees. Might even have been 110, but that sounds insane to me. Although I grew up in Southern California, 110 was not like an uncommon thing. And on the flip side, they're like, when it's not hot and humid, it's cold and freezing over. There's severe weather on both sides. One of the things that I've said about our climate here that I think resonates with a lot of people is that, in my opinion, our area is one of the most temperate, moderate climates that you can get while still having 4 seasons. So this is not Southern California. It's not like coastal weather where, you know, it just barely fluctuates or it's sunny and warm all the time. Obviously, we have gray skies. I've done a video about the weather. You can check it out here. But if you like the idea of 4 seasons, this is about as mild as you can get when it comes to still having 4 seasons. So going from Texas, where the grid can go down because it's privatized, or feeling like you need to have a generator because the likelihood that the power is going to go out is so high, is something that my clients are saying they're not experiencing here. We just have a moderate climate. I don't know how else to put it. And so if that's what you're looking for and you're excited about that, I think one of the things you'll find, we thought that it was going to be like gray for like 10 months out of the year. It's going to be dark clouds and like constantly pouring rain. And it's very different than that. It's a lot more light gray. So the clouds are high up. You don't feel like you're like under this low, dark ceiling of clouds and like Eeyore. Is it Eeyore? Like with the gray cloud following you around. It doesn't feel like that. It's like bright. Even like today, it is overcast and there's still a brightness outside because the clouds are high up. So even though it's gray, we don't have rain in the forecast today and it's early March. So weather and climate are something that people are saying is a top reason for moving. They're just done with the heat and humidity. And you'll see me sprinkle in some of these comments throughout the video because these are people that have commented on my YouTube channel specifically about Texas. And so I don't want to be one of those people that said, you know, people are asking me and nobody's asked. I want to show you real things that people have texted me or left public comments on this YouTube channel so that you know that that's legit when I'm talking about stuff. So in wrapping up the weather, just the access to having natural resources, the fact that we have rain and rivers and lakes and, you know, just an abundance of affordable, reliable utilities and natural resources is something that is very appealing when you're concerned about weather and climate. The next most common reason people are contacting me about relocating from Texas to Washington is because they are either about to retire or have just retired and they're looking for a new place to call home. So now they're no longer tied to being in person in the metro markets of Texas, like Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, Houston. They can live wherever they want. Maybe their job didn't allow remote work during COVID, or they had to go back into the office and now they're retiring and they're like, we're going somewhere else. So I had a client who was an executive in the oil and gas industry and they've relocated here. Most recently, I had a client who worked in the movie lighting industry. And they retired up here as well. They actually moved a little farther north to Bonnie Lake. And I will just put this in as an aside. I do, even though Clark County and Multnomah County are my main markets, I do cover other places. So if you are really attached to the idea of me being your realtor, please reach out and I will let you know if it is something that I can help you with. And if not, I can put you in touch with a fantastic agent in the area you're looking to move. I know agents all over the country in the most obscure places. So be sure to reach out if you want someone that's going to be pre-vetted by me to help you with your relocation. Either you're selling your house in your home state or you are buying here. Also, if your realtor in your home state is highly encouraging you to go with one of their referrals and you'd rather work with me, just ask them to refer me to you. Does that make sense? Reach out to me, I'll explain. So retirement is a big thing. That's a major change. And we'll talk about some of the reasons why retirement is such a the key point in people coming here specifically, but I do, in connection with retirement, want to talk about home prices, because West Coast real estate is just a different animal. People that come here from the Midwest or the East Coast or the South, like West Coast real estate is some of the most expensive real estate just as a general region in the country. So even though we live in a more affordable part of the West Coast, it's still not quite the same comparison. I mean, in Texas, you can probably get like a McMansion for $500,000, and here you're going to get a more traditional suburban home, maybe 2,000 square feet, 3 or 4 bedrooms, 2 to 3 bathrooms, an okay backyard, but you're not going to get like a quarter acre usually unless you go with an older home. So real estate here, even when I look at the comparisons online and they say, well, real estate in Vancouver, Washington is slightly less expensive. That's not really the case in my experience because of what you get for the money. So here it is a little bit more expensive. So I just want people to set their expectations when they're coming here. You might be paying the same price and getting, slightly less house here. What a lot of my retired clients do is they're purchasing in the $700,000 to $1 million range, and they're getting amazing, gorgeous houses that are comparable to the homes that they've had in Texas. So it really depends on your price point, what you're looking for, and we can talk about how to maximize your budget, whether that's $500,000, $700,000, $1.5 million, doesn't matter. I can help you. And as one of my colleagues says, big or small, I sell them all. That brings us to our next point about why people are moving here, and it has to do with quality of life. The factors, in our opinion, that affect quality of life are things like sitting in traffic, air quality, feeling fulfilled, the relationships you have, the activities that you have access to do that make your life feel just more well-rounded and enriched. So a good example of this is a family that I helped relocate a couple years ago. They came from Houston and they had 2 young school-age kids in elementary school. And they decided that with the new job, it was a job relocation. So the husband was moving here, and they left. One of the main draws for them to leave Texas was the politics. And they also said, since we're moving somewhere that has just such an abundance of outdoor activities and natural resources, the wife decided to stay home and homeschool the kids, and they did something called unschooling, and they are out now learning from the environment. So I always see on Facebook, they're out on hikes and they're learning about nature and really having the kids lead their own educational experience. And so just the fact that you're no longer tied to AC because it's so hot and humid, you can actually get outside all times of year. Our rain here is so misty that it doesn't really stop you from doing things. And so people come here and they just love how connected they feel to nature, how encouraged it is to be outside, to be active. And that's really one of the attractions that I'm finding my Texas clients really like about Washington State. The next reason, because the Texas to Washington pipeline doesn't seem like an obvious choice, but one of the biggest things that I'm hearing as like a side note, a secondary reason why people are moving here is because they want to remain in a tax-free state. And so the top 3 most popular tax-free states, I'm talking about income tax here, is Texas, Florida, and Washington off the top of my head. There's about 7 or 8 of them, but those are the ones that are the largest, the most popular that I'm hearing people move to or consider. And actually my 3rd most popular state that people relocate from is Florida. So I have a video coming for you Floridians. So people who live in Texas and are used to not paying income tax really like the idea of coming up here and staying in that same tax bracket where they're only paying federal tax. And that's the only thing they have to worry about. Where there is a big difference when we're talking about taxes is property taxes. I've heard clients in Texas have as high as 3% property taxes. On average, the Texas property taxes are about 1.6%. And on average in Washington State, the property taxes are 0.84. So you're paying probably at least twice as much property taxes in Texas than you would in Washington. And in some cases, maybe triple. You might be paying triple the amount. And so when you're retiring, going back to retirement, people not wanting their retirement income now taxed on a state level as well, and the fact that they'll be saving on property tax and getting the quality of life they want with the weather that they're looking for has been really popular. People that are my clients from Texas who are not retiring are usually relocating for a job, or they now work from home and they can work anywhere, and they've always loved the Pacific Northwest, and now they're going to seize that opportunity that they have. And then because we're kind of talking about finances when it comes to taxes, it's a good point here to talk about cost of living. The things that you'll notice that are more expensive here than Texas are going to be groceries, entertainment, and personal services. So like getting your nails done, your hair cut, getting people to work on your house, whether that's painters, roofers, things like that. You're going to spend more money up here than down there. Where you'll notice a savings is going to be in healthcare and utilities, especially utilities, because our electric bills here, number one, it doesn't get as hot, doesn't get as humid, and cold wise, it's about the same. But we have, in my opinion, very affordable utilities. We generate electricity. A good chunk of our electricity is generated using very environmentally friendly and inexpensive forms of electricity. For instance, hydropower at the Bonneville Dam. If you're curious about the Bonneville Dam, we did a client event last fall. You can watch that video here. And we went and toured the Bonneville Dam with clients. Jarrett and I had been there many times, and it was really fun to take clients there and show them where we generate our power and how fish pass through the ladder. And it's a great outing to do with people that are visiting, as you have friends and family come visit you up here, or if you want to check it out yourself. And if you didn't know, I host regular client events because so many of my clients that are relocating do not have a social network here. And so we want to give people something to do where at least they're going to show up and know one person and introduce them to other people. And it's just a lot of fun. We try to do things that are interesting. We're not doing just one annual picnic. We're doing fun and unique and interesting things constantly throughout the year. So that's one of the perks of working with me as your realtor when you relocate. So when we look at these websites that talk about cost of living, they'll say that Vancouver, Washington is slightly less expensive than other parts of Texas. I don't think it's true. It's probably closer to a wash when all things are considered, and you might even feel like it's a little bit more expensive here depending on how much you partake in using personal services and eating out and, just what you do. But we do have tons of free activities here. Throughout the summer, there's free activities. You can go hiking. A lot of the things to do here don't revolve around a lot of money, and you can have free parking. And, Washington isn't nickel and diming you the same way that some other states do. California. And that brings us to the last reason that I'm hearing people say that they're leaving Texas, which has to do with the culture and specifically the way that my clients that are part of the LGBTQIA plus community feel. I've had comments like this before where they say that they don't feel safe in Texas long term. My clients that are relocating from Dallas right now as we speak, they are a gay couple. They have been together since, I believe, the late 80s and have always lived in Texas together. And it's getting to the point now where they feel like, things might be okay now. We don't like the politics. We don't like some of the cultural leanings, but it's gotten to the point where they feel unwelcome from a long-term standpoint. And this is anecdotal. So, if this doesn't apply to you, totally fine. But I came here to share the realness, not to hold things back from you guys. And their concern is that they're going to repeal gay marriage in Texas. And for them, that was something where they said, okay, I think it's time that we start a new chapter elsewhere. Those are some of the big reasons. And, when we're looking at Texas versus Washington, Washington definitely has, less population, less people. So there's less strain on some of our resources on the state level. I've had people ask me, well, if you're not paying income tax and you're not paying out the nose in property tax, where's the gotcha with Washington? And we've been here for 6 years this month, and I haven't found the gotcha. Don't think it exists. Washington is truly a great place to live. We feel so happy and so fulfilled. I would not go back to my home state to live full time. I absolutely love it here. I think I'm a Washingtonian for life. And this video is not meant to throw shade, no pun intended, on the state of Texas or the people who live there. It's just to share some of the issues that I hear from my clients and to help people relate if you're in the same boat. If you are in the same boat, make sure to reach out to me. Here's my cell phone number. You can text me or call me. Send me an email, however you like to communicate, and I'd be happy to discuss if relocating to Washington is the right fit for you. It might not be. And if you're just curious about it, I'm happy to have that conversation with you. Nobody gave us the time of day when my husband and I relocated here, and I don't want to be that person. So if you just are thinking about it and you want someone to talk to that's here, boots on the ground, that's me, and to ask questions that are specific to you. Maybe my videos don't cover everything that you're wondering about. I'd be happy to have that conversation with you. So I hope this video was helpful to you. Leave a comment. It really helps our videos out. Make sure to like this video as you leave, and I will talk to you all soon. Catch you next time. Ciao.